All right, let's talk about one more step, the concept of taking one more step, just one more time, one more call, one more reach out at the end of the day when you're feeling exhausted and you're like, oh, I think I've done enough for the day. I think I'm just going to close the books or throw in the towel, right? But I want to encourage you to make one more, just one more call, just one more rep on the biceps. Stretch just one more time outside your comfort zone. And that's when the muscles get stronger, right? I'm at the gym and I do my reps and I'm doing, 11, 12, 13. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to be done. But that's not when the muscles grow. The muscles grow when I'm like 14, 15, 16, right? We know that. We know that. And so it only takes 1% more effort to be 100% better than anyone else. It only takes 1% more effort to be 100% better than everyone else, because most people stop on that 12th rep. Most people stop when they're feeling at the end of their day and they decide, I'm just going to close the books and just be done with it. I think I've done enough, right? Just when you think you've done enough, I want to encourage you. If you want to get better, if you want to get more results, if you want to close more business, if you want to increase whatever bar you've hit or whatever plateau you've hit. If you want to get past that, just one more each time, just one more, just one extra call. And one extra call every day is 5 extra calls. I'll never forget the day. It was a long day. I hadn't slept very well that night. I think I think Lily was just born or whatever. And, you're a brand new parent and you're not used to the no sleep. And apparently, I don't know, I haven't slept the same ever since the first one was born, now 3 kids later. But anyway, I remember it was like a long day and I was tired and I don't drink coffee. So it's like, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're just exhausted and you're like, I think I'm just going to throw in the towel. And when you're self-employed and you make your own schedule and you don't have to report your quota, you make your own quota. No one's telling you what to do or how much you have to do. So I'm like, I think I'm just going to slip out. Nobody knows because I'm working from home. No one can see me. Nobody knows because I'm my own boss. I'm just going to stop for the day. But I'm like, I'm just going to make one more call. I'm just going to make one more call. So I'm like, well, who can I follow up with? I don't know. I don't want to call this guy. I've called this guy like 7 times. But every time I do talk to him, he seems like interested. But it's like, I feel like I've called him so many times and I don't think it's going to make a difference. But maybe I'll just call him. So I called him and he was ready. He was ready. He was not ready the other 6, 7 times I talked to him. But today he was ready. He's like, oh, I'm so glad you called. He's like, I've been trying to find your phone number. I mean, I was hoping that you would call. I was hoping that you would have called me last week. I was waiting for you. Have you ever had one of those before where you're like, we should call somebody sooner, but then we forget about them or whatever. And in this case, I was afraid that I was bothering him, but no, he wanted me to follow up with him and he was ready. And guess what? He ended up becoming a 6-figure earner, right? A huge success here. And many of you met him at the team dinner. He came, he's gone on to be a multimillionaire. He came and paid for everybody's dinner at the team dinner. We had 100 people at the team dinner. And then when we told the waitress, oh, can you make separate checks? And she looked at me when we were all trying to leave to get back to convention on time. She looked at me like, you want separate checks? Now, I had previously arranged with this waitress separate checks, or at least with the manager, okay? Like weeks ago when I booked this dinner, but she looked at me like, now you want separate checks? And he goes, he looked around and he saw how crazy it was and that there's no way this waitress was going to produce 100 separate checks. He gave her his credit card and he paid for the whole thing. But anyway, his life was blessed because with the opportunity, because I decided to make one more call. What if I hadn't? Would his blessing have been delayed? What if I completely forgot about him? He couldn't find my phone number, even though I had called that many times. You just never know what a blessing you're going to be to someone else. I was talking to a newer business partner earlier today, and she said, yeah, she goes, well, I know there's some people here that I was thinking about maybe sharing what I do. And here, I think maybe I don't need to share with these people over here what I do because they're all well-to-do. And I said, you know, it's not up to us to decide whether they want to receive this blessing. It's up to us to share with everyone what's available to them. Affordable legal services, what we do, right? We don't know who needs that blessing. In fact, many people who are well-to-do became well-to-do because they believe in saving money, right? And so if we could take a $400 an hour lawyer and give it to them for $29 a month, would they appreciate that introduction? Would they appreciate to know that we exist, right? So when you're not sure, just make the call. When you're not feeling it, just make the call. Let me share with you some follow-up statistics. Hold on, my screen has frozen. Okay. This is from the National Sales Executive Association. Did you know that 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect? I mean, they go through the trouble of making the introduction to whatever services or product that they have to give to this world. They muster up the courage to share it with someone, and then they never follow up to even see if the person is interested. Or can you believe that? 48%. Now, who's guilty? Raise your hand. I'm guilty. How many times have I personally exposed someone and didn't follow up with them? I'm guilty too. So I guess sometimes I'm that statistic. Hey, 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. 25% of salespeople only make 2 follow-up calls and stop. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and then stop. And only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. Did you know that? Only 10%. What percentage do you fall in this category? Now, here's a more interesting statistic. 2% of sales are made on the first call. So that means, like, as far as on the buyer readiness scale, they already had a legal situation going on. So when you called them, boom, they were like, thank you. God sent you to me because I've got this situation and you can help me. Okay. 2%, only 2% are ready to buy on the first sale. 3% of sales are made on the second call. 5% are made on the third call, or I should say contact, because now we're texting these days, calling, texting, email, the different ways to reach people. But look at this, 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact, and 80% of sales, 80%, are you hearing this one? 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. 5th to 12th contact. So what does that mean we need to do? What does that mean? How many times do we need to reach out to people? How many times do we need to follow up with them? Because it took this guy, it was the 7th call. It was the 7th call. And during calls 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I was like, am I wasting my time? Am I bothering him? Is he really, is he just stringing me along? Am I right? We wonder these things, we think about these things, but 80% are made on the 5th to 12th. Write this down. Conversations lead to conversions. Conversations lead to conversions, which lead to commissions. Conversations lead to conversions. If you are trying to get someone closer to making a decision in the direction that you are trying to influence them on, when you're speaking to someone, you can hear the intonation in people's voices. When I say something to you, when I say on a text message to you, I am not sure how much time do I have to put into this? That's what the text message comes through, all right? You might be thinking, well, is it saying, I'm not sure, how much time am I gonna have to put into this? But what if you call them and they say, well, I'm not sure. How much time will I have to put into this? That is a completely different intonation. Would you agree? You could tell the interest level of someone. Sometimes you can even tell someone's objection when you're speaking to them. So text messages are great to kind of get information out, to do some quick exchange. But when it comes to really, truly being able to find out how far along how far along am I, there it is, with this person, right? Or getting them to take the next step, that happens in a conversation. Because a text message can be like text, throughout the day, and maybe the exchange is just 1 or 2 times back and forth, and then they're like busy and then they run off to do something else. But when you're talking to them, you can ask questions, they can give you an answer, you can make a suggestion, they can give you an objection, you can overcome the objection, you could tell them what the next step is, right? So taking those next steps and doing those things, write these words down. The next step is. So anytime you have somebody that you're trying to take them to the next step in your sales process, in the pipeline, in your leadership development, the key words are your next step is. So for example, Debbie's son, Blake, is taking some amazing, successful steps to become successful. Once he's completed his first training appointment, we'll just say, great job, Blake. The next step is to book the next appointment, right? And maybe I'm talking to a prospect who's interested but isn't ready to buy. I'll say, great. I'll look at the pipeline. I'll look at our 5-step exposure process that we have in our company. And I'll say, okay, where do they need to go from here? Where are they right now? And I'll say, great. Well, Bob, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking a look. The next step is to talk to one of our experts who can answer all of your questions about our services and see if it's a good fit for you or not. Right? The next step is. So once you start using those words, also another great word to use when you're leading people is the first step is. The first step is. Have you ever led someone where someone's come to you and they're like, okay, I'm ready to change my life. Tell me what to do. I want it. And then you tell them what to do, and then they don't do it. So when you talk to them again, hey, how you doing? How's the family? How are the kids? How's everything going? Oh, okay, that's great. That's great. Well, tell me, what's most important to you right now? What's your goal? What's your why? And you're talking to them. You'll say, great. The first step is to go to this website and to take this training. Or your first step is to send this text message out to your top 3. So we're instructing them. And then they're like, okay, great, I'll do that. And then you follow up with them later. Maybe they haven't done it. So you follow up with them. Okay, great. How's the kids? How's everything going? Great, 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 great. Okay, you ready to get started? Yes. Great. The first step is to go to the website and take the training class. Have you done it yet? No. Okay, great. That's the first step. Let's do it. So you get it. You're in bite-sized leadership steps. So the first step is, the next step is. And if you could do that, it's checkerboard leadership, which helps you make a move and you wait for them to make the move instead of fire hosing them with all this information that they're not ready for because they just need to take that first step. And then once they've taken that first step, then you can say, great job. The next step is to add on the next thing. Okay, so what do we got to do? I want to encourage everybody here to make a hot list. Let's make a hot list. And we did this last night on the, what was it called? It was called the Mastermind, where I had everybody go through their prospect list, right? Their prospect app or their business cards or whatever organizational system they've got. Maybe they're writing their prospects down in a notebook. Maybe they've got the old school 3x5 index cards and they're using the little black box that they put them in or whatever. But go ahead and make a fresh piece of paper. Take out a fresh piece of paper. And what I want you to do is shoot for 30 names. Scroll through your prospects because not every prospect is rated equally, although we want to give them the benefit of the doubt and we want to reach out to each one of them 5 to 12 times, right? Because that's where 80% of the sales are made, 5 to 12 times. However, we want to go through here because maybe you've been planting seeds for 2 weeks. Maybe you've been planting seeds for 2 years. If you scroll through, you'll be able to find the ones that you're like, oh yeah, that one. I can't believe I need to call that person. I need to take them to that next step. I need to put them on the phone with an expert for a 3-way call. I need to invite them to a live seminar or a live event, that next step in the pipeline, in the exposure process. Oh yeah, that person, right? I just need to call and see how they're doing and catch up with them. So take the moment to do that. And what I want you to do is you're going to compress the timeframes between now and the end of the month to hit your goal. You're going to call them at least 4 more times. You're going to blow their phone up, this group of 30 people. This is your assignment, okay? Between here and the end of the month, you're going to blow their phone up, call them, text them, call them, text them. You're going to be like, Rich really needs to talk to me. Debbie needs to say something. Okay, I better call her back. Because sometimes it takes that intensity to get somebody to actually call you back because people are busy and people are used to ignoring messages these days. We get so much junk mail. I get 300 emails in my inbox every day. Now my text messages have become like spam. I get so many text messages in my instant messenger. I mean, ignoring people's messages have become the norm these days. So if you really want to get somebody on the phone to find out where they're at or what their reservation is or to overcome the objections, let's get them on the phone because conversations lead to conversions. And when you're feeling like throwing in the towel, I want to encourage you to just remember the little voice on your shoulder saying, just take one more step. Just make the extra call. Just take one more step.